there, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, and it's a perfect time for me to talk about the band, kind of fitting for Halloween, October, autumn in general, and that is Typo Negative, uh, doom gothic metal band from Brooklyn, New York, led by Peter Steele. They released 7 studio albums, but unfortunately, before they started to record their eighth studio album, Peter passed away. He was only 48, so the band is no more, and we got only 7 studio records. The last one being released in 2007. So, yeah, I like them a lot. Always have since I first heard Black Number One almost 20 years ago, and over 20 years ago, I was only in high school, and I've been listening to their albums since, especially during autumn and Halloween and winter. It's the music kind of fits the mood and the weather in general, especially the lyrics. So yeah, let's start. I mean, there is only one album that I don't like by the band, and that is their second studio album, The Origin of the Feces, which I don't know if I can describe this as an actual record. I mean, the album's title is a play on Charles Darwin, on the Origin of Species, obviously. And I'm not gonna show you the original cover artwork. I'm gonna show you the remastered one. I don't know what YouTube can, strike down my channel or whatnot. But anyway, this album is actually just the reimagined songs from their debut record in kind of a mock live setting, since the album is recorded in a studio, but it was produced in a way to sound live by adding crowd noises. There is a banter with the audience, and I mean, it has its own story about a bomb going off at the show. I mean, it's fun. I mean, they always manage to include some humor in their music, even though the tone and the nature of the songs have been always kind of dark and bleak. But you know, I just don't get the record. Because the songs are there's only one new song called "Are You Afraid," but it's barely a song. It's only 2 minutes long, and everything else is from their debut record. And I cannot say anything more about it. Basically, just it's fine. It's 2.5 stars. At number six, I have their last studio album, that again from 2007. I know this album is more focused than the previous album, Life is Killing Me, but I prefer the songs on Life is Killing Me more, even though that album has its own problems that we're gonna talk about. But yeah, like I said, I like this album a lot. It's much better than The Origin of the Feces. It's interesting. It is quite dynamic and quite heavy as well. I mean, it's 77 minutes long, and it's only 10 tracks, but those 10 tracks have lots of going on in them, especially songs like These Three Things, Dripping a Blind Man, The Prophet of Doom, September Sun, fantastic song. There are a lot of dynamic changes happening throughout, so it makes these songs, even though they are quite long, they actually are quite interesting to listen to. There are even faster tracks like Halloween in Heaven, which is an unusual song for them in a way. It's kind of a tribute for all the rock stars that died, especially Dimebag, since he was a very good friend with Peter Steele. Uh, anyway, this album is an interesting record overall. Couple of great tracks, but I don't tend to go back to it that often, like some of the others. Um, Tripping a Blind Man is quite a unique song in their discography as well. I like that one a lot. The Prophet of Doom, on the other hand, I like the chorus, but the song itself on the full version on the record, I think it drags on a bit. Um, those are maybe my only complaints about it, but yeah, it's number six, and I have it at 3.5 stars. So at number five, I have their debut record, Slow, Deep, and Hard. It is a fun record. I mean, the thing with Typo Negative is that it kind of Peter was the main focus of the band. He was writing these songs, and you can tell how each and every album sounds um, based on how he feels at the time. So we have this angry record that is slow, deep, and hard. I mean, uh, this album is quite trashy and still contains the elements of his previous band Carnivore, and you can tell that he was upset. He was angry. His girlfriend left him, and there are a couple of tracks here that deal with that, especially the first one, successfully coping with the natural beauty of infidelity. And like in true typo negative fashion, all these songs are quite long, and each song has kind of parts like suits, you can say. I think this album feels much more natural compared to the Origin of the Feces record, which is only the reimagined songs from this one. I like almost all of these songs. This album is on the grasp of reaching 4 stars, but it's still 3.5, but really high 3.5 stars. I really like the opening track, even though some of the lyrics on that song wouldn't maybe be appropriate, you could say today, but I liked it. I like the album a lot, and it is noisy, it is angry, and it definitely has a bit of foreshadowing of what's to come on Bloody Kisses, even here on this record, but it's still kind of a punkier record, trashier, and there are a lot of sarcastic lyrics as always. So yeah, I like this one a lot, so I have it at 3.5 stars. At number four, I have an album that many people have last or second to last, and even my friend who actually inspired me to do this video recently told me that Life is Killing Me is his least favorite type of negative record, which I don't get since I'm not sure that this album is worse than The Origin of the Feces. I mean, we have all different tastes, but yeah, I don't see it. I think this is a great record, even though it seems unfocused. There are a bunch of different vibes on this record compared to, example, World Coming Down. I mean, it still has depressive tracks like Anesthesia, Niti, and the title track Life is Killing Me. And I especially love Anesthesia. I think that's one of the most underrated type of negative songs. I especially love the verses on it. But we have even songs are not to be taken seriously. For example, um, Angry Inch. Less Than Zero, and we have songs I Like Girls or I Like Girls that is dealing with Peter's kind of frustration with having homosexual men make sexual advances toward him following his appearance in Playgirl photo shoot in the 90s. So he made a song about that as well. And yeah, I think this album is kind of compared to their previous efforts. I think this album is kind of uplifting, you could say, for Typo Negative. And yeah, overall, I think this album is pretty great. I like almost all of the songs here, and I have it at 4 stars easily. So we have three more albums to go, and it's the usual suspects, to say the least. And yeah, my number three will be World Coming Down from 1999. It's definitely one of the most depressing albums I heard, and one of the darkest of the band's career. And as I mentioned previously, uh, if Peter was feeling depressed or in a sort of a mood, that will be felt through the record. And for this one, he was dealing with series of death in family, and they want to change a bit from kind of sexually charged lyrics from the previous records. And yeah, this album is dealing mostly with death, addiction, sanity, and it is quite a difficult album to listen to. If you have to be in the mood for it, at least I have to be in the mood for it. Some of these songs are really hard to listen to, especially songs like Everyone Alive Is Dead or Everything Dies. Songs like White Slavery is dealing with cocaine addiction. Who Will Save the Sane, dealing with mental illness. World Coming Down, the title track, is also one of their best songs. The only problem that I have with this record, it could be even number two for me, but I'm not the biggest fan of that medley, Beatles medley. In the end, I mean, yeah, they were big fan of the Beatles and Black Sabbath, obviously, but I don't know. It feels to me out of place. It could be a B-side or bonus track. I think All Hallows Eve would be a perfect closer for this record. A great closer, but unfortunately we have that song as well. I mean that medley. I mean it's not bad. I like Type O Negative covers for the most part, but for this particular album, I think All Hallows Eve would be a perfect closer. So yeah, I have this one at 4.5 stars. I think it's fantastic, and yeah, I have to be in the mood to listen to it, but it's a great record. Two more to go, and at number two, I have Bloody Kisses from 1993. I already talked about this one on my 1993 video. You can go and check that one out. This was their breakthrough record, an album that contains two of their maybe most well-known songs, Christian Woman and Black Number One. And Black Number One was the first song I ever heard from the band. So yeah, I think this album uh, went platinum for a reason. It is fantastic, even though I have my problems with it, and I'll get to it right away. I think there are a couple of songs here that mess with the flow of the record and the direction that this album and the feel that this album has with songs like Christian Woman, Black Number One, or um, Bloody Kisses, Death in the Family. And those two songs are Kill All the White People and We Hate Everyone. Both of these songs still contain the elements from Carnivore and the previous two records. They're punkier, trashier songs that kind of are out of place on this record, even though on their own they're great songs, especially We Hate Everyone. I love that song, but it messes with the flow and the vibe of the record. Even Peter wasn't pleased with the original release, so they re-released the record, cutting all of those interludes and those two tracks, Kill All the White People and We Hate Everyone, added Suspended in Dusk and made a more cohesive listen. Even though the overall track arrangement here is maybe not the best, but it still has a nice cohesive flow from start to finish. It opens up with Christian Woman and ends with Black Number One. And to me, this is the better version. I know people love the original one. I like those two songs, don't get me wrong, but I prefer the other version because it just fits. Suspended in Dusk is a great song. It was a B-side or bonus track on the previous release. This album contains some of their best work. Obviously, the two mentioned songs, Black Number One and Christian Woman, and also I love Type O Negative cover songs, especially Summer Breeze. I think it's a fantastic cover. Bloody Kisses, Death in the Family is one of my favorite Type O Negative songs. And interesting thing is that song is dealing with uh, the death of his cat, actually, Venus, I think, a 17-year-old cat that they had. I never knew that until somewhere I read in an interview that he stated that that song in particular is dealing with um, his family cat, and he is a cat person. Obviously, he loved his cats. Blood and Fire, fantastic song. Too Late Frozen is another great track. Obviously, it's fantastic record. Easy 5 stars for me. So we have one more, and that is October Rust from 1996. My favorite Typo Negative record, and one of my favorite records ever. I just love this one. Even though I heard A Christian Woman and Black Number One, this is actually the record I've listened from start to finish first. And I just loved it. It is the most gothic record they released, and it's less doomy, it is less heavy, it's more piano driven, it's melancholic, it's sexual, it is atmospheric. Um, there's a lot of happening here. It it kicks off with Love You to Death, which beautifully sets the mood for the rest of the record with that beautiful piano melody and that fuzzy guitar. You could definitely see they were inspired by shoegaze, especially on this record and on this song in particular. There's one part on it that really reminiscing of something My Bloody Valentine would do. Um, then we have Be My Druidess, uh, following the similar theme as the previous one. Green Man is a different song about nature and which in a way um, talks about Peter's employment and in parks and recreation. He was working in Brooklyn, New York, and he loved that job. And my favorite part of this record, it is full of bangers, full of great melodies, hooks, choruses, and the stretch from Die With Me, Burn Flowers Fallen, and In Praise of Bacchus is fantastic and one of the most underrated set of songs they ever released, especially Burn Flowers Fallen. I just love that song. There is a cover from of Cinnamon Girl from Neil Young, which for some reason people don't like. And to tell you the truth, I love the cover. I'm not the biggest Neil Young fan, and I prefer this version over the original one, so sue me. And one of my favorite tracks here on this whole record is Wolf Moon, including Zootropic Paranoia, a fantastic song dealing with interesting subject. It's full of sexuality and atmosphere. This album is catchy as hell, full of hooks, memorable choruses. I mean, just listen to My Girlfriend's Girlfriend, the first single. I love that song as well. I think it's fun. This whole set of songs here is perfect to me. The flow is great. The the production is great. The lyricism, the atmosphere, the vibe, the everything. The piano playing on this record is amazing as well, and one of the most recognizable parts besides Peter's bass here and his voice, obviously. And this is a classic goth rock, goth metal record that inspired many other bands to do something similar. So yeah, easy 5 stars for me. So yeah, this would be my list and rankings of all Typo Negative records. Tell me your thoughts, your feelings about the band if you have it. What's your favorite record? What's your least favorite record? And yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. And that next one will most definitely be the review of the new Cure record, which will be out tomorrow. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you. Bye.